Well, kids, in the ongoing drama that is As the World Turns, or better put, As the Worm Turns,
how about new?
It's taken a twist.
What?
Aaron Rodgers is no longer on the Pat McAfee show. Gee, I wonder why. I'm Jazz Berganzo, and this.
I told you so. Just doesn't quite say it.
It's What's Next. A happy Thursday, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jazz Berganzo. This is What's Next, your daily dose, your daily episode. Facts, common sense, and salt. Hope you guys are doing well today. Well, it's been a hell of a couple weeks. Several weeks, matter of fact. Let's go back to December. It's been a hell of a month. As the world turns, or as the worm turns, between ESPN, Pat McAfee, Aaron Rodgers, Jeffrey Epstein, Jimmy Kimmel, a plethora of people involved. It has come down to this. After Aaron Rodgers basically said, hey, why would Jimmy Kimmel be so mad about a list? He's not on it. Why would he be so, why would he be so, adamant about me and a list and coming out and what have you? I'm going to pop a cork. Well, turns out after Jimmy Kimmel ranted about not being on the list, ranted about not being on the plane, ranted about not being on Pedo Island, well, it turns out that Jimmy Kimmel is on the list. Fact. But that didn't stop one Pat McAfee and ESPN from letting Aaron go. Yes, Aaron Rodgers is no longer on the show for the season, quote unquote. And here we go. This comes out of Breitbart. Aaron Rodgers cut from Pat McAfee's show for the remainder of the NFL season. Of course, where it gets juicy, we're now in the playoffs. Aaron Rodgers returned to Pat McAfee's show on Tuesday. He blasted ESPN executives and the mainstream media for trying to cancel him after his comments insinuating that Jimmy Kimmel could be on pedophiles Jeffrey Epstein's client list. On Wednesday, Pat McAfee canceled Aaron Rodgers for the remainder of the NFL season. Quote, there will be a lot of people who are happier with this, myself included. This is Pat McAfee saying this. To be honest with you, McAfee said, the way it ended, it got really loud. I'm happy that he's not going to be in my mentions going forward, which is great news. Really? Interesting. The move is quite surprising since McAfee has been fiercely loyal to Rodgers before and during Kimmelgate. In addition, according to reports, it's McAfee himself who had creative control and books guests on his show. So presumably, it would have been his call to cut Rodgers. Or so we think. The move is, according to New York Post, sports media reporter Andrew Marchand, the plan was to retain the Jets quarterback as a guest throughout the playoffs. Rodgers used his appearance on Tuesday to downplay his comments towards Kimmel and take aim at ESPN executives seeking to cancel him.
About a lot of different topics. Somehow the Epstein client list comes up. And I said it's interesting, and there were for a long time.
Jimmy Kimmel brought this up.
There hasn't
Why?
been a list that's been released. There's been one, but we said there's an excitement to expose corruption. And what I joked about the other day about popping a bottle, there's excitement about when the corruption anywhere gets exposed and people who are accused of these heinous crimes get exposed, that will be nice.
Honestly believe I am meeting up with Tom Hanks and Oprah at Shakey's once a week to eat pizza and drink the blood of children. Is a cognitive bias in which people with limited competence in a particular domain overestimate their abilities. In other words, Aaron Rodgers is too arrogant to know how ignorant he is.
He spent 7 minutes on this nonsense. 7.
Anyways, we're very appreciative, and we understand that more people are watching this show than ever before. We're very thankful for the ESPN folks being very hospitable. Now, there are some people actively trying to sabotage us from within ESPN. More specifically, I believe Norby Williamson is the guy who is attempting to sabotage our program. I'm not 100% sure, that is just seemingly the only human that has information, and then somehow that information gets leaked and it's wrong, and then it sets a narrative of what our show is, and then are we just going to combat that from a rat every single time?
My thoughts. Am I surprised? No. Aaron was prophetic on Tuesday's show, where he basically said people have been trying to cancel me. They've been trying to cancel me, trying to cancel me and others who are speaking the truth in regards to the coof, in regards to the shitty poke. So then again, I think his number was up when this whole thing with Kimmelgate started. Because the fact of the matter is that Kimmel is ABC's golden child. He's their number one. He's getting paid $20 million a year to be the host, a non-funny host of a non-funny show. But for Pat McAfee to come out and say, well, you know what? I'm glad this happened. You know, I'm glad I don't have to have him in my mentions anymore. I'm glad he's not on the show anymore. But as I read, this is the same guy who defended Aaron Rodgers to a fault prior to Kimmel and then shortly thereafter Kimmel and during this whole drama. But for a guy who's defended him, who's known Aaron Rodgers for years, says, I got control of who I book. No. ESPN is paying you $85 million over 5 years. They have the final say on what you do because you're now part of the corporate. And corporate says jump, you say how high. So I believe, and this is me, that ESPN execs, his bosses, came down hard on him after Tuesday's show. They came down hard on him and said, you have a choice. It's you and your show and the monies, or you let Aaron Rodgers go. But you have somebody who's, well, no, he likes to play outside the box. He likes to, draw outside the lines. And we've tolerated so much from him because, he's a friend of yours. But when it comes to Jimmy Kimmel, I'm sorry, the line has been drawn. So you have a choice. And he made his choice. Because I can guarantee you this, is that more eyeballs were on Pat McAfee. And I said this the other day. I said more eyeballs were on Pat McAfee because of Aaron Rodgers than it was prior. You have people still today who say, who's Pat McAfee? Oh, the show with Aaron Rodgers. Oh! And that's a fact. It's not bullshit. That's a fact. So Pat McAfee owes a lot of his ratings, a lot of new people watching his show to Aaron Rodgers. But yet, I have no problem cutting him loose. I have no problem not mentioning him in my mentions anymore. Yeah. Because Pat, that was all you. And with that being said, I'm Jazz Berganzo. This is what's next. Oh. And it's going to be interesting when Aaron Rodgers comes out and gives his reasoning on why he was let go. So that should be fun. But anywho, leave your comments below. Like it, share, subscribe to it. Hit that notification bell so you guys never miss a thing. Continue to spread the word about the show. Help it continue to grow. And we'll catch you next time. Peace.